The restaurant hummed with
Please, I
quiet
don't know what else to do. You're the
conversations
only
and the
one I can
gentle clink
trust.
of silverware against
I
porcelain.
need you to calm down and tell me
Soft amber
everything.
lights hung from the ceiling, casting everyone in a golden glow. I smoothed down the front of my black dress and checked my watch again. 20 minutes past our meeting time, and still no sign of David, my blind date. Rachel had promised David was reliable. "He's my boyfriend's cousin," she'd assured me. After the string of disasters I'd endured in the last year, decent and nice sounded like winning lottery numbers, Vicen. But now, as I sat alone in a restaurant I couldn't afford, I wondered if this was just another cosmic joke at my expense. I was about to gather my dignity and leave when the front door opened, and every molecule of air in the room seemed to shift. 3 men entered, and the restaurant's ambient noise dampened as if someone had turned down the volume. The first 2 were built like brick walls in expensive suits, their eyes scanning the room with practiced precision. But it was the man between them who drew every gaze, including mine. He moved with the fluid grace of a predator, each step deliberate yet effortless. His charcoal suit looked custom-made, molding perfectly to broad shoulders and a lean waist. Dark hair framed a face of severe angles and shadows. He couldn't have been much older than 30, yet there was something ancient about his eyes, dark, knowing, and utterly unreadable. I didn't realize I was staring until those eyes locked with mine. For one excruciating moment, I couldn't breathe. Then he looked away, following the maitre d' to a private alcove on the opposite side of the restaurant. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. "David got called into emergency surgery. He's so sorry. Rain check." Of course, David the surgeon, too important for our date. I sighed, gathering my purse and jacket. The waiter approached with a sad smile. "I'm afraid my date isn't coming," I said. "Just the check for the water, please." "The water is complimentary, miss," he replied with surprising gentleness. As I stood to leave, accidentally knocking my fork to the floor, a different voice, low, smooth, with the barest hint of an accent, spoke from behind me. "Leaving so soon?" I straightened too quickly, nearly colliding with a solid chest. The man from the entrance stood there, close enough that I caught the scent of his cologne, something expensive and subtle with notes of cedar and amber. His eyes studied me with unsettling intensity. "My date canceled," I explained, wondering why I felt compelled to tell him anything. A slight smile curved his lips. "His considerable loss." Something fluttered in my stomach, a warning perhaps, or something more dangerous. "I'm Marcus," he said, not offering his hand. Just his name, like it should mean something to me. "Sophia," I replied automatically, immediately regretting giving my real name. "Join me for dinner," he said. It wasn't a question, not exactly a command either, but something in between. I began. One of his companions had materialized silently at his side, watching our exchange with the emotional investment of a statue. Despite every instinct telling me this man was dangerous, I heard myself say, "Charm." Quote 14. Marcus's private alcove was separated from the main dining area by heavy velvet curtains. "You do this often?" I asked as he held out my chair. "Rescue stranded women from bad dates?" "No," he said simply. "This is a first." He ordered for both of us with practiced ease, appetizers to share, wine that probably cost more than my monthly rent. As we ate, conversation flowed more easily than I expected. He asked questions about my work as a pediatric nurse, listening with surprising interest. He offered little about himself in return, deflecting personal queries with practiced ease. What emerged instead was a portrait of a man who noticed everything. By dessert, I'd had enough wine to relax in his presence. I asked. he replied. As our phones vibrated simultaneously, I reached for the one closer to me without thinking. The message on the screen made my blood run cold. Quote 23. Marcus's hand closed over mine, gentle but firm, taking the phone from my grasp. "I believe that's mine," he said quietly, his eyes never leaving my face. The knowledge of what I'd seen hung between us like a blade. I said, pushing back from the table. He signaled for the check. Quote 27. It wasn't an offer. The hairs on the back of my neck rose. "That's not necessary." "I insist," he repeated. Outside, a black Bentley idled at the curb. As we reached the car, Marcus leaned close, his breath warm against my ear. "Besides, Sophia, we need to discuss what you saw on my phone, don't you think?" In that moment, I realized my mistake wasn't picking up his phone. It was thinking I had any choice in what happened next. The inside of the Bentley smelled of rich leather and Marcus's cologne. I pressed myself against the door, putting as much distance between us as possible. "You're afraid," he observed. "Shouldn't I be?" "I have no intention of harming you, Sophia," he said. His voice was soft, but carried an unmistakable warning. "I enjoyed our dinner. Perhaps we can do it again sometime." "I don't think that would be wise." "Wisdom is rarely compatible with desire," he replied. When we reached my apartment, he produced a business card. "My private line. If you need anything, call this number." As I stumbled out of the car, he called, "Good night, Sophia. Sleep well." That night, I dreamed of dark eyes watching me from shadows. The next day at work, I tried to convince myself the dinner had been less sinister than it seemed. But that evening, as I walked home, a black Mercedes SUV appeared, moving slowly along the curb beside me, maintaining my exact pace. The rear window lowered. "Sophia," Marcus's voice. I stopped walking. He said simply, "I lied." Chapter 46. Marcus studied me for a long moment, then stepped out. Quote 47. Confused and wary, I resumed my path home with Marcus beside him. He matched his stride to mine effortlessly. He said suddenly, I said, the words coming before I could stop them. Quote Chan. Something shifted in Marcus's expression. A softening around the eyes, perhaps. Rain began to fall as we reached my street. "Have dinner with me again tomorrow night," Marcus said. "I have a date tomorrow night," I lied again. His expression hardened almost imperceptibly. "With whom? The surgeon who canceled yesterday?" "Yes." "Cancel it." I lifted my chin defiantly. "No." He stepped closer. "You don't know me, Sophia, but I promise you I'm a better option than a man who would leave you waiting alone in a restaurant." "Because you'd never stand me up?" "Because I'd never let you go in the first place." The possessiveness in his voice should have terrified me. Instead, it sent a traitorous warmth spreading through my chest. I hurried inside, feeling his eyes on me with every step. That night, a text from an unknown number glowed on my screen. "Sweet dreams, Sophia." I should have been outraged. Instead, I found myself staring at those two simple words until the screen went dark. The next evening, a delivery arrived, a large white box tied with a black satin ribbon. Inside was a single white orchid plant with a small card bearing only 3 words, "Reconsider, beautiful Sophia." My phone vibrated. "Did you receive my gift?" "Yes, it's beautiful, thank you." Like its recipient. Heat rushed to my cheeks. Another text. "Have you reconsidered?" "I'm still not having dinner with you." "Then I'll come to you. I'm already on my way. Panic fluttered in my chest, but I found myself typing, yes, but just for a little while. 19 minutes later, Marcus stood at my door holding wine and a paper bag fragrant with fresh bread. I thought you might be hungry. I let him in, and he moved to my kitchen with easy confidence, opening wine and presenting Georgian pastries. My mother's recipe, he explained. As we ate, he said suddenly, "When you saw the message on my phone, what did you think?" "I thought you might be involved in something illegal." He didn't deny it. Quote 76, quote 78. His eyes held mine. Quote 79. He moved to kneel before my chair, his face level with mine. Quote 80, quote 81, quote 82. His hand cupped my cheek. Quote 83. I nodded, unable to speak past the knot in my throat. When his lips finally met mine, the contact was feather light, questioning. I answered by pressing closer. The kiss deepened and heat bloomed in my core. I whispered, even as my body ached for him to stay. Quote 85. He agreed, rising to his feet. Quote 80. Quote 87. I reminded him. Something dark flashed in his eyes. Quote 88. Quote 89. He stepped back, surprisingly. Quote 1 to quote 92. He moved to the door. Quote to quote 95. He was gone, leaving only the lingering scent of his cologne and the impression of his lips on mine. The next day, as I left work, Marcus showed me surveillance photos on his phone. A man I'd never seen before, watching my apartment building, then in the hospital parking lot. His name is Vincent. He works for the Moretti family, a rival organization. Someone has discovered my interest in you, and that puts you in danger. Fear bloomed in my chest. What do we do? You need to come with me tonight, to my home. It's secure. Marcus, I can't just leave. I have work, responsibilities. Call in sick. This isn't optional, Sophia. Your safety is at risk. You can't just order me to upend my life. He showed me more images, Vincent tracking my movements, learning my patterns. The sick feeling in my stomach intensified. Come with me, Sophia, please, he said. The plea, so at odds with his usual commands, undid me. Okay, let me pack a few things. We left through the service entrance, avoiding the main lobby. His mansion was breathtaking, modern and elegant, with soaring glass walls and warm lighting. Everything spoke of wealth and power worn with casual confidence. Welcome to my home, Sophia, he said. What's mine is yours. A staff member brought dinner to my suite, a room larger than my entire apartment. Later, Marcus came to check on me. As we talked, the tension between us ratcheted higher. Stay, I said, catching his wrist as he moved to leave. Just for a while. Are you sure? I'm here, aren't I? I chose you. His control shattered. His mouth claimed mine with a possessiveness that stole my breath. We moved toward the bed in perfect synchrony, and I surrendered completely to him. Morning arrived too soon. Marcus was gone when I woke, but he'd left a note and breakfast. Later, he showed me the news. Vincent had been found dead. Marcus admitted. Quote, the honesty was both terrifying and oddly comforting. Quote, I answered honestly. Quote, 16. Over dinner that evening, he shared his past for the first time. His father killed by rivals when Marcus was 10, his mother dying of cancer when he was 15, his rise through the criminal underworld. He asked again. I said, Then one of his security men burst in. Quote 121. Marcus's demeanor changed instantly, all softness vanishing. "Prepare the car, full security detail." "I'm going with you," I said. "Absolutely not. It's too dangerous." "I'm a nurse, Marcus. If someone's hurt, I can help. And if these people are targeting you because of me, I should be there." After a tense moment, he nodded. "You stay in the car with guards at all times." We drove to a warehouse district. When gunfire erupted inside the building, I watched in terror through the car window. Then Marcus emerged, supporting a bleeding man. Without thinking, I ran to them. "I'm a nurse," I said, already examining the wound. "Get him to the car." I treated the injured guard while Marcus handled the crisis. In that moment of chaos and violence, I saw the full reality of his world, and chose it anyway. At dawn, on a balcony overlooking the river, Marcus said, "I love you, Sophia. I think I've loved you since I saw you waiting alone in that restaurant." "I love you too," I whispered. "God help me, but I do. Stay with me. Be my strength, my conscience, my heart. Let me protect you, provide for you, love you as you deserve to be loved. I'll stay on one condition. I keep working as a nurse. I need to maintain that part of myself." "We'll make it work," he agreed. He produced a ring. "Too soon?" he asked. "Yes," I admitted with a smile. "But I don't care." "Mine," he said softly, slipping the ring onto my finger. "And you're mine," I replied. "All of you. The good, the bad, the dangerous. I choose all of it." 6 months later, we married in a private ceremony at Marcus's estate. The Moretti threat had been neutralized, and a fragile peace established. I continued my nursing work 3 days a week, always under the watchful eyes of his security team. The rest of my time was divided between charity work and building a life with the man who had claimed me. Our world wasn't perfect. Marcus's business still operated in shadows, and danger was never far away. But within the circle of his protection, I found not a prison, but a sanctuary. A place where I was valued not just for my beauty or usefulness, but for the strength he saw in me from the beginning. And on nights when memories of violence threatened to overshadow our happiness, Marcus would hold me close and whisper, quote, 141. In those moments, I knew the truth of it. Fate had led me to the wrong table that night, but somehow to exactly the right man, my protector, my love. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but it was the one I was meant for, and I wouldn't change a single moment of it, not even the mistake that started it all.